The family of an 18-year-old found dead over the 4th of July weekend will be represented now by civil rights attorney Ben Crump. 18-year-old Nolan Wells was found dead on Horn Island in Mississippi. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says that Wells was last seen on the 4th after traveling to the island by boat with friends. His body was found 2 days later. Authorities suspect Wells drowned but are still investigating. Crump says the family is calling for a thorough and transparent investigation, including the release of records, witness accounts, and autopsy findings. Joining us this morning, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, good morning. Good to have you here. As a parent to teenagers, these are not easy stories. You think about your kids going on vacation, you expect them to be safe, have fun, but come home. When you have attorney Ben Crump, what does that tell you, the level of where this case could be going when you hire someone with his accolades?
Ben Crump does what the NAACP did in the 50s and 60s. They're still doing that type of work now, but I think what he brings is that platform, that awareness, that investigation, an outside type of investigation. He's already said that they're going to get the body and do a separate autopsy, fly the body from where it was down to to Washington, D.C. He's also talked about how the autopsy that was done by the state is still pending. So that part of the process, when you bring someone in like that, yeah, he's not going to prosecute a case, right? Mm-hmm. But he's going to bring awareness. He's going to push whoever is down there in whatever capacity he can, once his investigators find anything, if they find anything, to be able to do more. And so again, I'd say that it's akin to in the 50s and the 60s when the NAACP would come in and try to force the federal government to take over cases when maybe local or state government wasn't doing something.
Well, when you have a family, or in this case, addition of an attorney like Ben Crump, when you come in and you want to have your own independent investigation alongside law enforcement, that doesn't necessarily mean we don't trust what you're doing. We want to speed things along, and maybe two investigations is better than one.
100%. And also remember, the local law enforcement have no responsibility, I should say, or obligation to follow whatever he's asking them to do, unless there's a court order mandating them to do something. I will say to the local law enforcement's defense, they're already doing their investigation where they're saying, look, we want to get any type of video footage that may have been captured on that day, specifically on that point, that showed any potential, and it's their wording, altercation or confrontation that he may have been involved with on that day. And so this obviously needs to be further investigated, because there's conflicting reports of what happened. Anytime you have that, that's when you want to have an investigation to ensure that you get some type of clarity.
I'm sure so much will also come out of the autopsy results whenever that comes out, but also the friends of Nolan Wells saying that they're going to comply to whatever questions need to be asked. How important are those witness accounts when you're trying to piece together the timeline of what happened on the 4th?
Extremely important, and that's why you want law enforcement and any outside investigators to take part in that, because if you get a story and you start to recognize that there's holes in that story, the only way that you can paint the picture of what happened is listen to all the stories independently and say, well, okay, something's not matching up, or they flow clearly through from beginning to end. I know that there were a number of concerns in the beginning when saying, hey, he was with us and then he left and met someone, and then the other person was like, no, he never met me, he was still with them. Yeah. That's where you're saying, okay, we need to circle back and talk to these folks, that his original friends. It reminds me of what happened with the young lady that passed from Charlotte, when the friends talked about, oh, well, this is what happened, and that conflicted with what the medical report said and what the physical evidence said. So you're going to follow what people are saying, but you're also going to follow what the physical evidence leads you to. The autopsy will play a part in that, but actually investigating at the scene, investigating on the boat, investigating any location where they were, will show you, okay, well, does the story that they're telling me connect to what really happened?
With Ben Crump being a civil rights attorney, depending on whatever circumstances come out of autopsy and everything else through this investigation, any civil liability?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, again, this is way down the road, but say if there's an investigation and at least there's some type of accountability or liability from the individuals, from the friends, then yeah, potential wrongful death lawsuit against them. But if there's a mismanagement of the investigation itself, if there's something that wasn't uncovered and could have been uncovered or should have been uncovered, then yes, you could bring a lawsuit against the potential agencies that failed and missed those things as well. And so I say it a lot, we're a litigious society, and not saying that they don't have any potential to do that, but if there is an opportunity to find a way, that's why you bring in a civil attorney like this. You're bringing them in to push along the investigation, but also stand up for you in situations where, as a non-attorney, you don't know what you're asking for. You just know you want justice for someone that now has been taken.
Well, and as you've talked before, this is still so fresh and immediate for the family that's grieving. The wheels of justice turn so slow. This could be years trying to get the justice and the answers.
You're all over it, extremely slow.
Yeah. All right, Khalif, thanks. More topics coming next hour.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.